Hey, you. Feeling like you're running full speed, but maybe not actually getting anywhere in this whirlwind that 2025 seems to be.
Yeah, like you're hustling, hitting targets, maybe even building the next big AI, thingamajig.
Right. But underneath it all, is there that kind of nagging sense of, well, what's the point?
You're definitely not alone if you feel that. With all the rapid changes, the AI whispers, just the sheer noise.
It hits hard, that question. But what if you could tap into something, a source of meaning so profound it could anchor you through whatever this year throws your way?
And we're not talking about just a quick pep talk here.
No, definitely not. We're diving deep into the insights of someone who faced, well, unimaginable darkness and came out with this unshakable understanding of human purpose, Viktor Frankl.
So think of this less like a book summary, more like maybe a personalized roadmap for building a really meaningful, resilient 2025.
Exactly. Okay, so let's get straight into it. We're looking at Frankl's work, Man's Search for Meaning.
And the context is it's vital. Frankl survived Nazi concentration camps. Horrifying, obviously. But his experiences, they stripped life down to its absolute core.
Yeah, they reveal these fundamental truths about what drives us, how we find strength, when literally everything else is gone.
And for you, navigating 2025, the AI shifts, the constant digital buzz, feeling pulled in a million directions.
It seems disconnected, but Frankl's insights, they're incredibly relevant, aren't they?
Totally. So our goal today is really to pull out the most potent, the most actionable lessons from his experience.
We want to help you not just, survive this year, but actually build a life, build work that feels full of meaning, unshakable meaning.
Right. So Frankl's time in those camps, it was like this intense pressure cooker, stripping away everything superficial.
Leaving just the bare essentials of what motivates us. And what he found gives us a really powerful lens for our own challenges in 2025, even though they're thankfully very different.
Okay, so let's jump into that first big takeaway then.
Let's do it.
This is where it gets really interesting. Forget just seeking pleasure or even power. Frankl discovered that our deepest, most fundamental drive is actually the will to meaning.
The will to meaning. Okay.
Think about it like this. In the camps, the people who had a strong why, like a purpose, something to live for, someone waiting for them.
They were the ones who showed incredible resilience.
Exactly. It wasn't about just feeling happy in the moment, which was often impossible. It was about having a reason to endure the suffering.
Wow. So takeaway number one, your deepest drive isn't just success, it's significance.
Significance. I like that word. It really captures it.
And that really hits home in 2025, doesn't it? We're drowning in metrics, chasing the next trend, constantly reacting.
It's exhausting. And if your focus is only on those external wins, those metrics, well, it's unstable ground, especially now.
But having that strong why, that deep sense of purpose,
Yeah.
that's like your foundation. It can withstand the disruption.
It's your anchor in the storm.
So, for you listening,
Yeah.
what's maybe one thing you could do, like today, to start anchoring yourself in that kind of meaning for the rest of 2025?
Yeah, that's the crucial part. This isn't just philosophy, it's active. The first real step is to dig down, identify your core values.
What really matters to you, deep down.
Right. And what problems, big or small, genuinely get you fired up? What impact do you want to make that goes beyond, say, revenue targets?
And you actually have to write it down, don't you? Make it concrete.
Yes. Write it down. Make it real. Don't just keep it floating around in your head.
It's not enough to just think, oh, I care about X. You need specifics. What does making a difference actually look like for you?
Exactly. And then step 2 is to look really honestly at your goals for 2025. Professional, personal, all of it.
And ask,
Yeah.
do these actually line up with those core values I just wrote down?
Precisely. And if something doesn't connect back to that deeper purpose, maybe it's time to question if it really deserves your energy this year. Cut the clutter.
Be ruthless about it, maybe.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Especially for listeners who are entrepreneurs, building businesses in this uncertain climate. This is critical.
Don't just slap a mission statement on the website.
No. Go deeper. Explore your personal mission within the business. How does this venture actually fulfill your core needs? How does it contribute to something bigger than just the bottom line?
Because that's the fuel when things get inevitably tough.
That's the fuel. Think about Patagonia. Their environmental commitment isn't just talk. It's like baked into everything they do.
And that clear why resonates, right? With employees, customers. It builds resilience.
Or look at Satya Nadella at Microsoft. That whole shift towards empathy, a mission-driven culture. It gave this massive tech giant a renewed sense of purpose.
Okay, so finding your why is foundational. What comes next then for navigating 2025's choppy waters?
Well, having that anchor is step one. Now let's talk about how you actually, ride out the storms that are definitely going to come.
Right. Which brings us to the second key takeaway.
Yes. And this one is about your ultimate power, even when everything feels out of control.
Your inner freedom.
Frankl's profound realization was this. Even when all his external freedoms were gone, utterly stripped away, the one thing nobody could take was his freedom to choose his attitude in any given situation.
Wow. Okay.
He realized he couldn't control what happened to him, but he had absolute, total control over his response to it.
So takeaway number 2. Even with AI looming and information overload hitting us 24/7, your final freedom is choosing your response.
That is incredibly empowering, isn't it? Especially now. We get bombarded constantly, news, opinions, social media comparisons, predictions about the future of work.
Yeah, it can feel like we're just like puppets being pulled by algorithms or massive trends, deterministic.
You feel like a victim of circumstance. But Frankl's insight is the antidote. It's how you reclaim your internal agency.
Okay, but how? How do we actually practice this day to day? What's the first step?
A really effective place to start is building in just a little bit of mindful detachment, maybe 5 minutes each morning.
Just 5 minutes.
Yeah. Simply observe your thoughts, especially those worries about 2025, the AI fears, the competition, the volatility. The key is without judgment.
Just watch them float by like clouds, not get swept away.
Exactly. Recognize they're just thoughts. You create that little bit of mental space.
Okay, I can see how that helps. And then how do you move from observing to actively choosing that response?
The next step is to get really clear on what you can control versus what you cannot. Be honest about it.
Like, I can't control the global economy, but I can control how I react to market changes, maybe.
Precisely. Focus your energy relentlessly on what you can influence. Your skills, your effort, your attitude, your immediate actions, and consciously, actively let go of needing to control the externals.
That makes so much sense. It shifts you from feeling helpless to feeling, well, powerful in your own sphere.
Yeah.
Agency.
Yes. And for those listeners who are really focused on self-improvement, leveling up their skills this year.
How does this apply? Especially with all the talk about AI taking jobs.
Well, instead of dwelling on potential job losses, you consciously choose to invest your energy in developing uniquely human skills.
Like creativity,
Yeah.
emotional intelligence, complex problem solving, the stuff AI struggles with.
Exactly. Be decisive about upskilling in a direction that aligns with your purpose, your chosen path. Make it proactive, not just reactive fear.
Yeah, channel that energy constructively. I think of someone like Oprah Winfrey. She's faced immense public scrutiny setbacks,
Definitely.
but she consistently seems to choose her attitude, stay focused on her mission, despite the noise. It's a real-world example.
Absolutely. It's that inner stance. Okay, so we've covered finding your why and choosing your response. What's the next piece from Frankl?
This builds on that inner freedom idea, right?
It does. Our third takeaway looks at how we can find meaning, even in the really difficult experiences.
The unavoidable suffering part. Finding purpose, even in the setbacks 2025 will inevitably bring.
Exactly. Frankl realized quite profoundly that meaning isn't restricted to positive moments. It can be found in our attitude towards suffering we can't avoid.
How you face the hardship itself can be meaningful.
Yes. It's about turning that challenge, that tragedy even, into a personal triumph of attitude. Finding a deeper purpose through how you respond.
So takeaway number 3, find meaning in unavoidable suffering, or maybe more relatable for 2025, find it in your setbacks.
That's such a powerful reframe, isn't it? Because let's be real, in 2025, if you're pushing boundaries, trying new things, you will face setbacks.
Oh yeah. Failed launches, projects that don't pan out, market downturns, team losses. It's almost guaranteed, especially with the pace of change now.
And Frankl's point is these aren't just failures to be endured, they are actual opportunities.
Opportunities, how so?
Opportunities to demonstrate courage, to show resilience, and maybe even to redefine what success really means to you beyond just the outcome.
Okay, that shifts the perspective quite a bit. So what's a concrete way we can start doing that? Finding meaning in our 2025 stumbles.
The first actionable thing is to consciously reframe every setback, every single one. Treat it as a learning opportunity.
Instead of just feeling discouraged or beating yourself up.
Right. Ask yourself, really ask, okay, this hurts, but what can I learn from this? What lesson here makes me stronger or wiser for what's next?
There's almost always something to learn, even if it's small.
Almost always. Turning that negative into positive learning, that's the key.
Okay, reframing is learning. What's the next step in building this mindset?
The next step is about consciously choosing your attitude after the disappointment or pain hits. It's okay to feel upset, angry, frustrated.
You don't have to pretend it doesn't hurt.
Not at all. Acknowledge the feeling, but then don't let it define your state indefinitely. Actively look for even one small positive aspect or a lesson learned that builds your resilience for the future.
Find the silver lining, even if it's tiny, and hold on to that.
Something like that, yeah. And for listeners facing maybe bigger professional disappointments this year, say a job loss due to automation, which is a real fear for many.
How can they apply this without it sounding, dismissive of the pain?
It's about trying to see it not solely as a personal failing, but perhaps as an unavoidable challenge of our times, maybe even a necessary, albeit painful nudge
A nudge towards what?
towards potentially a more aligned, more meaningful path, something closer to that core purpose we talked about earlier. It reveals inner strength you didn't know you had.
It forces a reevaluation. I think about Elon Musk's early career, Zip2X.com. Those weren't smooth sailing,
Not at all. Major setbacks.
but his ability to learn from them, to pivot, to keep driving towards his bigger vision, that really embodies finding meaning, finding eventual triumph through failure.
Absolutely. It's a mindset. Okay, so we've got find your why, choose your response, find meaning in setbacks. What's the final piece of Frankl's wisdom for our 2025 roadmap?
This last one feels really important given how fast everything moves now.
It really is. Our fourth and final takeaway zeroes in on the incredible value of time and the importance of living with real intention.
Making every moment of 2025 actually count. I like the sound of that.
Frankl had this fascinating way of putting it. He urged us to live as if we were living for the second time and as if we had acted wrongly the first time.
Whoa. Okay, unpack that a bit.
It highlights the responsibility we have in each moment. Time is passing, and the choices we make, the actions we take, they become part of our permanent past. He talked about actualizing possibilities.
So it's about recognizing the preciousness, the finality of each moment.
Yes, and letting that drive intentional, responsible action. It asks you, when you look back at the end of 2025, what do you want to have accomplished? Not just tasks, but who do you want to have been?
So takeaway number 4, live your 2025 like it's your second chance and make it count.
Make it count. Because it's so easy, isn't it, in the daily grind of 2025 to just get caught up.
Totally. The days blur, you're just reacting, putting out fires, procrastination kicks in.
And Frankl's message cuts through that. It's a stark reminder. Time is finite. It's transient. So for you, the listener, maybe pause and ask, what's one thing you might regret not doing, not experiencing, not being when you look back on this year?
That's a powerful question to sit with.
And a practical tool Frankl's idea suggests is something like future retrospective thinking.
Future retrospective. How does that work?
When you're facing a key decision or even just thinking about how to allocate your time next week, imagine yourself at the end of 2025 or maybe even 5 years from now, looking back.
Okay.
Ask that future self, what actions would I be most proud of taking right now? What missed opportunities would I regret the most?
And let that perspective guide your choices today.
Exactly. It adds weight and intentionality to your present actions.
That's a really practical way to approach decision making. What's another tangible step for living more intentionally this year?
Make a conscious effort. Maybe even schedule a time, not just for tasks and meetings, but for reflection, for connecting with people you care about, for experiencing beauty or joy.
The things that often get squeezed out when we're busy, but actually give life meaning.
Precisely. Those are the moments that truly enrich our past, our lives.
And for those listeners who feel like 2025 is just slipping away, like life is passing them by,
Yeah.
what's the core message here?
Don't defer living. Don't wait for the right time to find meaning. Seize the small opportunities every day
Wow.
in your everyday interactions, in how you choose to respond to a frustrating email, in taking one small, courageous step towards living your values. Even tiny actions count.
Because those lived moments, those choices, they become permanent parts of your story.
They are what truly matter in the end. Think about someone like Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, incredibly demanding job.
Right.
But reports often mention him prioritizing things like fitness or time away. It's a reminder that intentional living isn't about neglecting responsibility. It's about integrating what truly matters.
It's about consciously building a past you're proud of, beyond just professional achievements.
Exactly. So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive into Frankl's wisdom, the main thing to remember is that even though the challenges of 2025 are very real,
The AI, the speed, the uncertainty.
Yeah, all of that. Your greatest power to navigate it all lies within you.
Absolutely. It's not about somehow avoiding suffering or difficulty that's probably impossible. It's about finding meaning in it and through it.
By really focusing on your deepest why, by consciously choosing your attitude, by learning and growing from the inevitable setbacks.
And by living each moment with intention.
You shift from being just a passive recipient of whatever 2025 throws at you.
To becoming the active architect of a truly meaningful and resilient year. Your year.
Yeah.